Today we're finding ourselves new state to me, new place, and barely made it here. Lots to talk about. So, but before I begin, I'd like to mention something. Loves isn't particularly known for its super Cali XP Ali something alidocious hospitality. In fact, I'm willing to wager that there's better accommodations elsewhere. But I will give them credit for, like, this is the third Loves that I've been to that actually has tire repair facilities on site. I really don't understand how it's even scientifically possible not to tap into that resource. This is pretty darn full. Reason being is because it's getting late, right? So I've arrived substantially later than I anticipated. Everything is look at that. The further along, and I apologize for the noise. This is what you have to get used to. If you've never slept at a truck parking lot, that's exactly what it sounds like. All right. So, but hey, beggars can be picky. You know what I'm saying? So, the drive through Oklahoma and the drive through northern Texas sucks. It absolutely sucks. I don't care what anybody else says. It sucks. If you ever feel compelled to drive through parts of New Mexico that eventually, I'm talking about I-40, that goes all the way from like Albuquerque all the way to Oklahoma City, it sucks. It is flat. There's absolutely nothing to see at all. There's occasional windmills here and there, and honestly, it just keeps going and going and going. And the monotony of not being able to kind of have any frame of reference for being like, okay, I'm moving along sort of deal. There's no homes to look at. There's no nothing to look at. It's just like, imagine this grass just keeps going as far as I could see, and probably 17 times longer. It's just like there's nothing. It's very frustrating. So, and on top of it, like, here's another little tidbit. I had 250 miles planned for today's trip, right? I verified it on Google Maps before I actually set sail. I pinged location, which is this location, and somehow that turned into 264 miles. I literally have no idea how that's even possible. Driving on same I-40, nothing different. Somehow it just became 264 instead of 250. And the last 14 miles are the hardest. They might as well be 400, if you know what I mean. If you're tired and cranky and but in any event, so what I ended up doing, I went off the interstate, and instead of going to Loves like I planned, I actually moseyed over to the Pilot, thinking, hey, you know, Pilot and Flying J typically have better parking lots. You know, they're it's only back-in sites that are available over there. I could back in. I've done that before. I'm not particularly fond of that because I have a lawn RV, you know, with a trailer, and it just like, if I could avoid having to complicate my life. So what I ended up doing, I actually went across the road to Loves, where everything is occupied, with exception of two sites that are basically either back in or nose forward. So you didn't have to ask me twice. I nosed in. Tomorrow, more than likely, there's gonna be somebody in front of me that's going to move, and I'll just pull forward and yada yada yada, you know the drill. It's a long drive. You know what, other than that, I'm relieved to say that it's been largely uneventful. It's just been long and tedious. I stopped about halfway through that trip, and it's just like, you look at the timer. Now, mind you that I actually drive below the speed limit. I drive 60 on a 75, specifically because I'm towing and also for gas mileage. And it was absolutely hilarious for me to watch the same people pass me like 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. This one guy or girl, whomever, they had a Super Class C with a trailer in tow, with a Subaru, the arch nemesis of myself, on the trailer, barely strapped by one strap, violating like every single policy possible. The guy is doing 80, which is higher than the speed limit, right? So eventually, after he passed me like 10 miles up the road, he's on the side of the road pulling over because his car is basically falling off the trailer. It's like, you know, if you're going to travel, at the very least be safe. Strap your gear, don't exceed speed limit, know the tow rating and capacities of your vehicles, as well as your mileage. Because I've had people that just kept passing me every, I don't know, 20, 30 miles. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how is it scientifically possible for you to pass me 7 times? But whatever. My goal for tonight is to hunker down, enjoy this absolutely spectacular sunset that's in the background. Unfortunately, you can't see the city from here. It's some sky rises and skyscrapers and stuff like that. But I've left that all behind about 20 miles back. My goal is to grab some halfway decent sleep for a change, and work, and then continue on my trip tomorrow. So I've made an executive decision to basically continue with this 250-mile thing every single day, even on weekends. It's gonna delay me getting back to Florida, but I would rather drive in a less than stressed environment, with a little bit more like, unfortunately, the problem with that is it's not like I could go somewhere and enjoy doing something, right? Because you can't just park your RV with a trailer in tow anywhere, right? So that excludes just about all the fun that I could be having. But yeah. So even on weekends, I'm still gonna do 250 to eventually make it to Florida on Wednesday, I believe. Unless something changes, unless I change my mind, but Wednesday is the target now. For reference, right now it's Thursday, so 7 days from now. Still quite some distance away, but hey, it is what it is.